Now it's time to talk about the signs, the signals, the things that were allegedly stolen by the University of Michigan. Now, I got to be honest, I haven't heard your stand on it, so I'm going to ask you some questions here. Number one, how big a deal is it? And
well, you don't listen to the Wojo and Rieger show. Unbelievable, Stoney.
Well, usually I do. I haven't this week, though, because I text you sometimes during your show.
Okay.
He was busy watching his Phillies.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh, Stoney, I'm sorry about the Phillies there.
You know what? I don't think I feel as bad as Rieger because his boy Castellanos blows.
Oh, my God, did he bomb out?
Oh, my God. Anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking about you last night, and I felt bad. I raised a glass of gin for you.
Beautiful.
No, actually, I didn't. How big of a deal is it? Well, obviously, it's a big deal in the college football world, and both camps have separated. It's like political talking lines. Not a big deal, no benefit at all. The biggest, ugliest deal ever. It's a big deal, especially for Michigan from this standpoint. It's striking at the very core of what they believe in or espouse, integrity and all that. There is a public shaming going on. That said, the public shaming may be the bulk of the punishment because it is really hard to tell exactly how you break down that rule or the absence of specifics in the rule and what a possible punishment would be. I do think this. And it looks bad, and looking bad is a punishment in and of itself. I don't think this is necessarily an NCAA witch hunt against Jim Harbaugh and Michigan. I mean, Harbaugh has opened himself up so many times with other issues with the NCAA that I think they can't help but hunt around. I think they're being helped by some other rivals and teams to hunt around on this one. I mean, it's not a coincidence that all the little clips and stories seem to have Ohio State connections, which, again, that's all fair in love and war and all fair in love and rivalries. If they believe they were being, quote-unquote, cheated upon, then they should blow the whistle. The thing you can't tell is, A, how much it did help or didn't help, how much of an impact it did or didn't have, and how much Harbaugh knew or didn't know. That might not matter to the NCAA, but I think it matters from an integrity standpoint for Michigan. And the only thing they can do is because every day something else comes out like, oh, here's a video from this sideline and here's a video from this. All of that is just reiterating the same thing. It's pretty clear they had a guy who hired people who went there and took video. So every time a new video or a new story pops, oh, they were at the Washington-Oregon game. That doesn't surprise me. We know that is the basic of it. That doesn't add to or gain clarity as to who knew or what knew or how much they gained. That said, I think we'll know more fairly soon as far as how the Big Ten will react. And to be honest, people waiting for what the repercussion is going to be. We've already seen some of it. I mean, the Big Ten knew when they alerted the other schools on Michigan's schedule that would come out and be leaked out. And their measure that they took is they had to say that because they had to stop it for the games ahead. And they actually, I think, helped Michigan in that regard. I mean, can you imagine if this came out the week after an Ohio State game like this season? It actually gives them a chance to and gives the opposing teams a chance to at least adjust to what they're seeing or hearing.
Do you think, whether it's Harbaugh or not, do you think anybody on that Michigan staff knew that Stalions was doing this? Or do you think
probably somebody, but I don't know what level, though. That's the thing.
Right.
Like, one person on the Michigan staff knew about it, and that's Connor Stalions. Okay, that's one.
Right.
And obviously he would be punished. Beyond that, I assume somebody did. Everything you're reading here say that Harbaugh did not have direct contact with him, and even if he did, if he just viewed him as one of his trusted decoders or whatever you want to say, that's okay. You're allowed to have a decoder or a sign stealer. So that wouldn't be a smoking gun per se. And the fact that he used friends or whatever at these stadiums, was that clever to have a layer of distance between, or was it clumsy? I mean, the fact that he used his name to purchase the ticket,
Clumsy.
half of me thinks, what a dummy. The other half thinks, well, that was his way of making sure there was distance between him and Michigan instead of using like a Michigan credit card or whatever, or a fake name.
So what is more plausible? Harbaugh or the staff telling him to do this, or him just being a part of, as what somebody likes to call, the Michigan cult fan? He's just this glorified fan guy who his parents went to Michigan. He went to the Navy. He came back. He volunteered some stuff when he was in California for Michigan as well. As I was reading when the story first came out, that he just is such a Michigan guy that he just did this on his own. What is more plausible?
That's how it began. Yeah, I think that's how it began, that he was whatever, a Michigan fan and had a unique skill, he felt, because he was there interning or whatever for like 6 years
right.
or 7 years before he was elevated. And then I think he showed he had a knack or an ability, and I imagine it was probably intoxicating for him and intoxicating for some people on the Michigan staff. Like, whoa, he really is good. Now, was it, don't tell me how you do this, kid, but that's pretty damn good? Or was it him, like, Harbaugh can be demanding, maybe he felt compelled to impress even more. Honestly, I don't know if we're ever going to get the full answer to that. Like, people will say, well, Harbaugh, well, I'm sure he has communicated with him at some point. You just don't know the context. I don't totally buy he was just a lone wolf, a rogue who went off on his own and nobody else had any idea what he was doing. I don't buy that, because there were whispers around the Big Ten, and I'm sure Michigan heard those whispers that they had a great sign stealer of questionable tactics. I'm sure they had heard about it, but I don't think they acted quick enough to end the there is going to be a stain. How big is the stain? Honestly, we don't know.